What if that feeling we all have, that constant current pulling us forward from birth to death, what if that river we call life isn't a river at all? What if the most fundamental thing we experience, the passage of time itself, is just an illusion?
Just stop for a second and think about it. The now. It feels so incredibly real, doesn't it? So solid. It's the only moment we ever actually live in. But then, the second you try to grab onto it, poof, it's gone. It just slips away and becomes a memory. It's like a ghost, a whisper. So what is this present moment we're all living in?
Yeah, we all feel it. And it's like this constant flowing river. It carries us along from a past that we can remember into a future we can only ever imagine. This arrow of time. It's the rhythm of our lives, right? A steady march forward. It's the one thing we feel is certain in a world that's always changing. But what if that arrow isn't really pointing forward? What if it isn't pointing anywhere at all?
Okay, so to start unraveling this whole mystery, we first need to look inward. I'm not talking about the clocks on our walls, but the one that's ticking away inside our own minds.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're completely lost in something you love, hours they melt away like minutes. But when you're trapped in a boring meeting, a single minute can stretch on for what feels like an eternity. See, this simple, everyday experience points to a really deep truth. The clock on the wall and the one in your head are telling two completely different stories. And one of them might be lying to you.
This is what we call psychological time. It isn't actually measuring anything out there in the real world. It's a story. It's a narrative our brain creates to make sense of all the chaos, all the information coming in. It's how we turn a jumble of random events into the story of a life.
So how does it do that? Well, our brain basically creates the feeling of now by stitching together two things: the immediate past, which is our memory, and the immediate future, which is our anticipation. The now is it's the meeting point on a film strip playing inside our head. And that raises a huge question. Is time really flowing out there in the universe, or is it just the projector inside our own mind that's making it seem that way?
For a very long time, this was a question pretty much left to philosophers. But then, in the 20th century, physics crashed the party. And let me tell you, the things it had to say were absolutely revolutionary.
See, for hundreds of years, we all kind of went along with Isaac Newton's idea of absolute time. The idea was simple. There's one giant cosmic clock ticking away at the exact same rate for everyone everywhere in the universe. It's a nice, comforting thought, right? Well, then along came Albert Einstein, and he just shattered it. He showed us that there is no master clock. Time, it turns out, is relative. In fact, it's deeply, deeply personal.
And listen, this isn't some kind of metaphor. This is a physical reality. If you put an astronaut on a super fast spaceship, they literally experience time more slowly than we do down here on Earth. When they come back, they will have aged less than the people they left behind. Think about that. Their now and our now are not the same thing.
And it's not just about speed either. Gravity itself can stretch and compress time. A clock on the ground floor of a skyscraper actually runs a tiny bit slower than a clock on the top floor. Now, the difference is so small you'd never notice it, but it's real. And it proves that this single unified river of time we all think we're floating on, it's a myth. It's more like there are countless different streams, all flowing at slightly different speeds, all around us all the time.
The implication of all this, well, it's almost unthinkable. Because if there's no universal now, then the whole distinction between past, present, and future it falls apart. And this leads us to a really wild idea called the block universe theory. It suggests that reality is a four-dimensional block where your birth, this exact moment as you're listening to me, and even your death, they all exist at the same time. They're all equally real, just different locations in space-time. So Einstein's ideas completely changed the game. But believe it or not, some physicists and philosophers think we need to go even further, to a place where time just vanishes altogether. This is easily one of the deepest, most mind-bending questions in all of modern science. And to really get our heads around it, we're actually going to look back at a powerful philosophical argument that was made more than 100 years ago. So way back when, a philosopher named J.M.E. McTaggart came up with a name for our normal, everyday view of time. He called it the A series. And it's exactly what you think it is. The idea that events are always on the move, coming from the future, passing through the spotlight of the present moment, and then disappearing into the past. But then, McTaggart contrasted that with something he called the B series. Now in this view, there's no flow at all. It's more like a frozen map of every event that has ever happened or ever will happen.
The year 2020 is just earlier than the year 2030. That relationship never changes. It's fixed, forever. There's no moving now, just a static, unchanging timeline.
And McTaggart's argument was, well, it was a total bombshell. He said, look, for time to be real, things have to change. The B series is frozen solid, nothing ever changes, so that can't be real time. Change can only happen in the flowing A series. But here's the kicker. McTaggart argued that the A series is a logical contradiction. Just think about any event, let's say your next birthday. It was in the future, it is, for a moment, in the present, and it will be in the past. But wait a minute. How can one single event be past, present, and future? Those are contradictory things. And if our only way of describing real changing time leads to a logical impossibility, well, McTaggart's conclusion was that time itself must be unreal.
I know, this might sound like some kind of abstract philosophical game, but what is absolutely incredible is that 100 years later, fundamental physics basically arrived at the exact same conclusion. When scientists try to create a single master equation that describes the entire universe, bringing together gravity and quantum mechanics, they end up with things like the wheeler-deWitt equation. And when you look at that equation, the part that should represent time, it's just gone. It's not there. It suggests that at the deepest, most fundamental level we can see, reality is timeless.
So this leaves us with a massive paradox, right? On one hand, our deepest theories in physics are telling us reality might be timeless, but on the other hand, our own personal experience of a flowing now is the most real, immediate thing we know. So how on earth do we put those two worlds back together?
Well, the physicist Carlo Rovelli has this really beautiful way of thinking about it. He says, think about the surface of water. To us, it's a real thing, right? We can see it, we can touch it. But if you could zoom all the way down to the level of individual water molecules, that smooth surface disappears. All you'd see are a bunch of H2O molecules bouncing around. The surface isn't fundamental, it just emerges at our scale. And maybe time is like that. So, maybe the flow of time that we feel isn't fundamental at all. Maybe it's a kind of beautiful, persistent, and maybe even necessary illusion. It's a story our brains tell us to help make sense of a fundamentally timeless universe. It's the illusion that lets us do everything, remember, plan, love, grieve. It's an illusion so powerful and so stubborn that for us, it is our reality.
Albert Einstein actually touched on this in a really moving way. After a close friend died, he wrote a letter to the friend's family. And in it, he said something like, "People like us who believe in physics know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Now, that wasn't him being cold or scientific about grief. It was meant as a deep comfort. He was saying that his friend hadn't just vanished into nothing. He still existed, just in a different part of space-time, a place that Einstein knew he himself would also eventually reach.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If that river of time is just an illusion, what does that make a human life? Maybe our lives aren't just a series of fleeting moments that disappear forever. Maybe they're more like complete, finished works of art, existing in their entirety, all at once, on this static, timeless canvas. Not a story that's being told, but a story that simply is. And every single moment, every joy, every sorrow, is a permanent brushstroke on that incredible, timeless canvas.